Okay, so yesterday we have seen the basics of using extend reports. Okay, so how do we use extend reports? The first thing that we have to do is, of course, we have to have this extend reports dependency in our Maven. Once this dependency is added, then we have to create an object for this extend reports. Okay, once we create this object for this extend reports, then we have to create an object for extend spark reporter where we mention the path where this particular report will be saved. Once that is done, then we have to attach this spark object to this extend report object by using extend.attach reporter spark. Okay, these are the first three things that we have to do. Once this is done, for every test we have to create a test object. Okay, extend test is equal to using this extend object extend.create test extend reports test. That means we will give a name to the particular test. Once this is done, then we'll use test.log, this log statements to log anything into the report. Test.log status.pass. Okay, click on login or register button. So like this we can use. Once all our test is completed, at the end we will use like extend.flush so that everything will be flushed into the report. That means once we use this one, then all these log statements will be recorded in the report. So we have seen this one yesterday. Okay, so today we'll see about how to log into the report using screenshots. Okay, so as we discussed yesterday, there are basically two types of images. One is base 64 images, and another one is images that we save on the hard drive. They are like hard path screenshots. Okay, base 64 encoding is, it's a way to encode binary data in ASCII text. That means we won't see the actual image on our hard drive, but it will be like a big string. Okay, and that string represents an image. Okay, and hard path screenshots are like we'll save the screenshots into our hard drive, and we'll give a path to that screenshot in the report. Okay, so for adding base 64 images, we use test.log statement, and then on top of that we use add screen capture from base 64 string, and we have to pass the string here, the string of that image base 64 code we have to pass. Okay, and we can also have a title for that one. Okay, and this will attach the image to the report, not at the step level. But if we want to add it at the step level, then we have to use dot pass method and then media entity builder dot create screen capture from base 64 string. Okay, this is the method. You don't need to remember like all these methods, but what you have to do is just keep this notes so that in future if you need to use these methods, you can refer to this one. Okay, so we can using this method, okay, dot pass of media entity builder create screen capture from base 64 string base 64 key code dot build we have to use, or we can also add a title. Okay, so this way we can attach a screenshot at the report level, okay, without title or with title, or we can also add a screenshot at the step level using this one without title and with the title. Okay, let us see both of these. Okay, and yesterday we have seen this method, how to get the screenshot. So we will be using how to take the screenshots. Okay, this question like people might ask. I have seen like some of the people asking this question. How do you take like screenshots in Selenium? Okay, we have an interface called takes screenshot. Okay, if you remember like yesterday we have seen this one. Yeah, so what is the interface that we have? Main interface in Selenium, it is search context interface, and then we have WebDriver interface from which remote WebDriver class is developed, and then this Chrome driver, Firefox driver, Internet Explorer driver. So all these different classes are developed. Okay, so now since we are creating a WebDriver object, okay, for all of these different browsers, okay, we can access only the methods from this WebDriver. Okay, but we have a separate interface called take screenshot. Okay, in order to use the methods from this take screenshot interface, we have to cache our driver to this interface. So by using take screenshot, okay, some object equals to, and we are casting it here, take screenshot of driver, just like JavaScript executor. In JavaScript executor also we have done the same thing, right? Do you remember, Ankur, like in the JavaScript executor we did the same thing, because this is a separate interface.
Yes, Abu.
Okay, so we have casted that JavaScript executor to create an object for the JavaScript executor interface. Okay, just similar to that one, we have to cast it to the take screenshot so that we can use, we have a get screenshot as method in take screenshot. Okay, so in order to use that one, okay, we have casted this one. Okay, so now in this get screenshot method, okay, it accepts like multiple parameters. Okay, one of them is output type dot base 64. Okay, that means it creates a screenshot, okay, in the base 64 string. Okay, that means it returns a string which is a base 64 code. So string base 64. Now we are returning that base 64 code, so the return type is a string. Okay, so we have created this one yesterday. Okay, so yeah, this one it is. Okay, so we have a get screenshots class we have created, under which we have capture screenshot web driver we are passing, because we have to pass the driver object. We want to capture the screenshot on the browser that we are running the test, so we have to pass this driver object. We are passing this driver object, and then screenshot take screenshot is equal to, we are casting this one to the driver object, and then we are using take screenshot as get screenshot as method. If people ask you like how do you capture screenshots in Selenium, you have to say that first we'll create an object for take. We have an interface take screenshot, and we'll create an object for that one by casting that interface to the driver object, and then we use the get screenshot as method. Okay, that's what you have to answer. Okay, so now once this is done, now in the actual extend reports, yeah, so in this actual one, so we are using test.log. So we have seen this one already, like to log the different statements into the report. Dot add screen capture from base 64 string. Okay, this is the method like that we are using, and then get screenshots dot capture screenshot. Okay, so the method like that we have created here is a static method. So how can you call this method? We can use the class name dot this capture screenshot. Okay, so in this one, if you see, yeah, so get screenshots is the class name dot capture screenshot of driver. Okay, and we can add a title also. Now if you run this one, we have seen this one yesterday, so let me run this one. Okay, so it is attaching this base 64 image with title. Okay, let me put more into this one. Okay, so let me add this same thing to the other things also. Okay, so here, okay, I'm adding it to about us page. Okay, so that I'll say this as about us page. Okay, and then here I'll say this one as car listing page, and then here I'll say this one as facts page. Okay, and then here I'll say this one as contact us page. Okay, so let me run this one more time, and it has to attach all these 5 different screenshots at the report level. Okay, now this is done. Let me refresh this target. Okay, so now this is the latest one that is created. So let me open this one. Okay, see, so these are all the different images that are attached at the report level. Okay, so now we have attached these ones at the report level, not at the step level. Okay, so with the titles like home page, about us page, car listing page, facts page, and contact us page. Okay, so this is how we can attach images at the report level using base 64 code. Okay, and if you click on this one, it will show you the image here. And if you look at like if you inspect this one, then it will show you. Okay, see okay, so this is an let me okay, see, if you see the source here, it is not like you can see like the big string here, data colon image, like that. So it is a big string actually. Okay, that is the base 64 code, base 64 code string. It is not showing something like c colon and then slash some folder like this. It's not showing like that. It is showing a big string. So this is the base 64 code. It returns basically a string. Okay, now let us see how to attach this one at the step level. Okay, so we have seen this one so far, like how to attach it at the report level. Now let us see at the step level how to attach this one at the step level. So for the step level, okay, again we have to use this one. Okay, so we have to use dot pass media entity builder dot create screen capture from base 64 string, and we have to pass, we have to call the method here and then build. Okay, so let me copy this one. Where is this? Okay, car rental pages. Okay, so let me copy this one and paste it here, and I'll say step level base 64. Okay, that means I am attaching at the step level base 64, this one. Okay, so now let me copy this one. Okay, test.log. I will use this pass method. From pass method onwards, like I'm copying this one. Okay, so instead of like add screen capture, I will use. Okay, now let me import this one, media entity builder. So import media entity builder and events stack extent reports, and let me import this one. I think the first one should work. And then we have string cannot be resolved. Okay, let me see like why it is saying the string cannot be resolved. Maybe it is because I need to import the other one. Let me remove that. About us page media entity builder. Okay, let me remove this one. Let me import the second one. And then also it is saying the same thing. Okay, let me just check this one. Dot pass media test dot log status dot pass, status dot pass, and then message. The above will add the images. We can add the images at the step level also, including the title. Okay. Oh, sorry. I think I did like something. So it's not after this one. Okay. Yeah, this is correct. Test dot log. Okay, let me copy this entire thing. Instead of like just copying this, just why it is saying string cannot be resolved to a variable. Okay, so we have to give the method name here, right? So, yeah. Okay, so here we have to give the method, we have to call this method, right? So the method like that we have to call is this one, get screenshots dot capture screenshot of driver. This is what like we have to call. Okay, so in this one we are calling the function that we have created here, so that it will return the string, base64 string. Okay, now let me import this one, import media entity builder. Okay, now we are good. Okay, so let me add the same thing to here also. Don't remember like you don't need to remember like all these methods like because if you get a new report like you have to know how to configure that one. Those things might have like some other methods, so no one will ask you like what methods you use to create to get the screen captures in extent reports, but they may ask you how do you take screenshots in Selenium. Okay, that one thing like you have to remember. Okay, so now I have created like I have written like all these methods to capture the screenshots at the step level. Okay, just make sure that like you have to have this build statement of after this one. Okay, now let me run this one. Okay, so now this is done. Let me refresh this one. Is the refresh thing? Yeah, if I refresh this one, now let me open this new one. Okay, open with system editor. Okay, now if you see, the images are added at the step level here. Okay, so earlier we have seen like the images added at the report level. Now the images are added at the step level. Okay, now if you click like these images, it will show you the images here. Okay, base 64 image. Okay, so like this. Now if you want like you can also add a title for this one. So after this one we can add a title. So I'm saying this is home page. Okay, and this one is about us page. About us. Okay, the next one is this one is car listing. Okay, car listing. Next one is facts page. Facts page. Okay, next one is contact us page. Okay, let me run this one. Run as sorry. Okay, so let me refresh this one. Now the target, I'm refreshing this one. Open with system editor. Okay, so you can see that it has added title like home page, about us, car listing, facts, and all these things. Okay, so this is how we can add at the step level. This is base 64 images. Okay, so do you guys like understand this one? How to add the images for using base 64 encoding strings at report level and at step level.
Yes.
Okay. Now,
So can you share these programs also with us?
I'm sorry.
Can you share these programs also with us? Because I think
Yeah,
it is not been.
I have already like shared the program like in your recordings. If you go here in Selenium trainings one, okay, you have this Eclipse Java and Eclipse underscore Selenium zip folders where you have like all the programs under this too, whatever we have
Okay, so
discussed so far. Okay, that is one thing, and also in the Selenium core. Okay, so Excel operations I have shared so far. Okay, I'll share this documents also. I have shared like until Excel operations, page upload model, and all these things, and also core Selenium documents. You can find it here. Okay, after this class I will add these ones also. Okay, extend reports documents also here with a separate folder. Okay, but you can find like all these ones. You just need to like get download these, unzip them, and import them into your Eclipse, so that
Yeah. So
you can see
what program you are writing now, that also are getting uploaded on this zip folders as of now?
it is there in this one.
Okay, already there.
Yes, already there. All the programs are
Okay.
there in this one, but I will upload this Selenium one more, not Selenium one more time, because I have in my local one I have updated yeah, I think one or two programs for the Excel related one. So I upload it one more time, but you have like everything in this one.
Okay, so
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that is about base 64 images. How we use like base 64 images. Okay. Now let us go into the next one, which is taking the screenshots and saving them in our no, what is that? Saving them somewhere on our hard drive and using them. Okay, fine. Now we have seen like all these things. Okay, now screen captures from path. Okay, this is the second one. Okay, here we use like okay, so again like the methods will change. Okay, if you want to use like from the physical, I mean the path. Okay, then we have to use add screen capture from path, and you have to give the path here, path of that particular image. Okay, similarly with the title also you can give it. Okay, and this is for adding at the report level, and if you want to add it at the step level, then you have to use dot pass media entity builder dot create screen capture from path, and we have to give the path here. Okay, similarly with title also. But how do you capture a screenshot and save it to a particular location on your hard drive and get the path dynamically? So for that one we will create like another method. Okay, first I will show you like the basic method for capturing this screenshot and save it to a hard drive, and then we'll extend this one. Okay, okay, so the first thing like we are doing is we are creating like the same method here again, like capture screenshot. Okay, capture screenshot we are creating. Okay, but the thing is that like here we are giving a file name, because it has to store it on your hard drive, right? So we will give a file name. Okay, so in this program if you see, we have created a separate method like get screenshots, and we have created capture screenshot. Okay, this one like we have created, and we will be writing a overloaded method. What is an overloaded method? Basically a overloaded method is methods with the same name within the same class but do different functionality. Okay, so I have created like another function with the same name, but the number of parameters will change here. So here I am passing the file path also. Okay, so this is a overloaded method I am creating. In this one I am passing the file path also, so that my capture screenshot, when I call this method, it will save it to the hard drive. Okay, so now let me show you this one. Okay, so again we'll be using the same take screenshot method, and we'll use the same method get screenshot as, but here the output type like will be different. The previous one, if you see, the output type dot base 64. Okay, but here we'll use output type dot file. Okay, this is what like we'll use, so that it will return as a file, this one. Okay, but now if you see, it won't return a string here, it will return something, a file object here. Okay, file source file. Okay, this is what it returns. Okay, because this is not a base 64 like a string method. Okay, it will return output.file is a file object it will return. So we will create a file object. Okay, let me import this one from java.io. Okay, so it will create a file object and it will return that file object. Now we got the file object here. Okay, once we got the file object, then we have to store it. We have to store it somewhere on the somewhere in the hard drive. So what we are creating here, we are creating another file, another file here, which is to this folder, report slash screenshot slash. I'm using the file name, I am passing it from here. Okay, underscore something. Look, first let us do it, with just the file name itself. Don't worry about this time thing. Okay, we'll come to this point. Okay, so what we'll be doing is, I'm creating a destination file where I want to store this one. Let's not return this one. Okay, so I'm creating a destination file here, and the destination file, okay, and I'm using okay, so instead of file path, let's give file name here. Okay, I'm passing a file name here. Okay, so using that file name, I'm storing my my image, okay, with the file name .png in the reports slash screenshots folder. So we don't have any reports or screenshots folder here. Okay, but let us see, it will, if it creates this folder under this one. Okay, we'll see that one. Okay, now we have created this one. We have captured the image as a file and we are storing it in this file object source file, and we have created a destination file. Now what we have to do, we have to copy the image in this one to this destination file. Okay, for this one we will use file utils. Okay, file utils is again from commons.io package. Okay, so this one we have already imported this one earlier. Okay, for a different purpose we have already imported this one. So if you go to form.xml, okay, commons-io, we have already imported this one. So we will use that file utils dot copy method to copy. Let me, yeah, okay, so we'll use file utils dot copy method to copy the source file, the file that we have captured, to the destination file. So now if I go here and if I put it here, so file utils dot copy this one. Okay, so now let me import this file utils from commons.io. Okay, now it will copy this one from here to here. Okay, now let me add this throws declaration. Okay, yes. Okay, now once this is done, now it is copied to the destination file. So now I will say return okay, but if you see this one, okay, what is this one? Yeah, so instead of just using this add throws declaration, I'm using try catch here. Okay, you can do this one also. Okay, now we have to we got this is a file object. This is a file object. So we have something called get absolute path on the file object to return the string value on that one. Okay, dot get absolute path. So it will give you the absolute path for this one. Okay, so do you understand this one? So see, we have created another method which is an overloaded method. Okay, which takes the file name. That means if you don't pass the file name while calling this one, it returns a base 64 coded string here. Okay, but if you pass a file name, it will store the image on the hard drive and it will return the path of that image. Okay, again, how do we take the screenshot for base 64 or for the hard path images? Okay, we'll use the same interface, take screenshot. We'll create an object for this take screenshot in both these cases. Okay, and we will cache that interface to the driver object so that we can use get screenshot as method on this take screenshot in the take screenshot interface. Okay, so now we have casted this interface to the driver, and then we are using take screenshot at get screenshot as method. Okay, so now if you want to use if you want to get like base 64, then we will use output type dot base 64. If you want to get like a file object, then we'll use output dot file. Okay, so I have created a file source file file object which is source file, and I am capturing the return file into the source file. Okay, now we got the source file, but we have to store it somewhere on the hard drive. How do we store it? Okay, I have created another file object with the path here, report slash screenshot slash. Okay, since I am passing the file name that I want to store the image, uh, you know, and I'm using that file name dot png image, like I'm creating this one. Now I have to copy the source file to the destination file, so I will use file utils dot copy file. Okay, which will copy the image from the any image or file, anything from the source file to the destination file. Now once this is done, I have to return a string is which is nothing but the image path. Okay, I have to return, so I will use return destination file dot get absolute path. Okay, do you guys understand this one, everyone, or any questions?
Yes, Subbu, I got it.
Okay, so all the the interview question, like you might be asked is like they won't ask you like how tell me like how do you capture screenshots in extent report, what methods you use. No one will ask you, because like the reports like will change. All you have to do is like if you know one report, you should be able to read the documentation for the other reports if you get a new one in your projects. Okay, and configure that one. So no one will ask you like what is the method for capturing a screenshot, I mean for adding a screenshot to the report in extent reports. No one will ask you. The major question like that they will ask you is, okay, do you know what kind of like reporting system that you have used in Selenium? You can say that, okay, I have used extent reports. Okay, but the question will be like, how do you take a screenshot, okay, in Selenium? So you can say that, okay, we can use take screenshot interface. Okay, and we have a method get screenshot as method in take screenshot interface. So first we have to cache that interface to the driver object, and then we can use get screenshot as method. So basically like we can get screenshots in the form of base 64 encoded string, or we can also get it as a file. Okay, so we'll use output type dot base 64 or output dot type dot file. If we use output dot type dot file, we will save it, we'll save the file that is written to somewhere on our hard drive, and we'll use that path in the extent reports. Okay, so that's what we are doing here. Okay, now sorry, let me
Subbu, get a absolute path returns string, right?
yeah, it returns a string. That's what like we are return string means
Yeah.
it will return you the actual path of like this one, because we have this file object, right? So this file object
Okay.
contains the path. Okay, this destination file dot get absolute path, it will return you the path of that image. Okay,
Okay.
okay, so now let me do this one. Let me go to yeah, currently pages. Okay, let me copy this one. Okay, so car rental pages, and I'll say screenshot. Okay, and like I'll say just path. Okay, at report level. Okay, I'm doing it at the report level. Okay, so now let me take this one. Okay, so again let me, this all will be same. Okay, let me come down here. Okay, in this is where like it will change. So now if you go to the documentation, so let me go here. Okay, so we have to provide this add screen capture from path, and we have to provide the path of that one. Okay, now if I go here test dot log status path, so now I will provide this one here. So now I have to provide this path. So how do we get this path here? So we will use get screenshot, the same method, like we will use it here. Okay, and we have to provide the file name also, because it will be stored with that particular file name. So the file name I'm storing it as home. Okay, so that it will store this one with this home name home. Okay, let me go here, add throws declaration. Okay, so the one thing like you have to remember is like whenever in this one, if you see in this one, okay, we have added like throws declaration here. Okay, so wherever you use this method, there also you have to, it will show you that you have to use, you have to add this one, like add this throws declaration, add throws declaration. If you want to like avoid this one, then what you can do is, instead of like adding this throws exception, use try catch exceptions. Okay, let me remove this one. Okay, and here like what I will do is I will add surround with try catch. Okay, so now it is like it is surrounded with try catch, so you don't need to add like throws declaration everywhere wherever you use this method. Okay, okay, fine. Okay, fine. Now this is done. Okay, let me add the same thing to others also. So I'm giving this image name as about us. Okay, now the next one I'm giving this one as, and this is car listing, and this one is facts. Okay, so now this one as contact us. Okay, so now let me run this one. Run as your application. Okay, so now this is done. Let me refresh this one. Okay, so it has created a new report, but again, where we are storing like all our screenshots, we are storing all our screenshots in report slash screenshots. Okay, so it has to create that new folder. So let me refresh the entire project. So I have this reports folder and then the screenshots folder, and it has created all these different images. Okay, about us, contact us, car listing, contact us, facts, homepage, etc. Okay, so now let me go here, let me go into this actual report that is generated. So it is that report generated, sorry, so this is the report that is generated. So let me go here, let me open with system editor. Okay, so this is how like you can see that the hard-coded like hard-coded path like images are attached at the report level. Okay, and in this report level, see, these are all the steps, and these images are attached at the report level. Okay, and if you want, like you can also have the titles like for each of these. Okay, so we have this add screenshot like all these things, right? Like these are the names of these images. That means we are passing the file name as home, about us, like this. But if you want to add like a title, you can also add screenshot, screen capture from path. Okay, so we are passing. Yeah, so after this one, you can add a title also for this one. So here I'm saying home page. Okay, and here I'm saying home page, and about us page, and then here I'll say our listing page, and then I'll say facts page, and then I'll say contactors page. Okay, so if I run this one, run as Java application. Okay, each and every page it is taking some time because it is capturing the screenshot and saving it. Okay, that's why it is taking like some time for each and every page. Earlier like it was really fast if you remember. Okay, so let me run this one, run as system editor. Okay, so now you can see the titles also. Okay, so now we have captured the images at the report level, but the same thing if you want to capture it at the step level, then you have to use again this one dot pass media entity and then create screen capture, and then we have to pass the path of that one and then build. Okay, so let me copy this one. Okay, before that let me copy this one to a new class. Okay, so instead of this one I will say at step level. Okay, so let me open this one. Now let me copy this method on top of this one. Let me go here. Okay, so again the path for string path, like we will use this method get screenshots dot capture screenshots, and we will pass the path. Okay, so you can pass like we have to pass the file name, because if we don't pass the file name it will call the base64 method. So I'm passing the file name as home. Okay, so again like it is giving some import this media entity builder. Okay, now copy the same thing again and paste it like everywhere. Okay, and this one is about us. So this one is our listing, and this one is banks, and this one is conductors. Okay, so if you use this one, we can attach the screenshots at the step level. Okay, run as Java application. Okay, now if we refresh this one, refresh. Okay, so let me open this one, open system editor. Okay, you can see that the images are attached at the step level. Okay, the images are attached to the step level. Okay, now okay, we can also like add titles for the images. So if I go here I will say comma home page. Okay, and then here I will say about us page, car listing page, tax page, and then conductors page. I will say like that, tax page, car listing page, about us page. Yeah, so let me save this one and let me run it one more time. Okay, now this is done. Let me refresh this target. Let me open this one, open with system editor. Okay, and you can see that like you can add titles also for this images, home page, about us page, like this. Okay, so this is how we will use like extend reports in our Selenium automation scripts. Okay, but there is one thing here. If you see like these reports, okay, these images, if in two different scripts, if you use like the same image name, then those images will be replaced. Okay, for example, in the previous one at the report level, we use like the same image names, but in the step level also, like at the step level also, we are using the same image name. So it is actually replacing like these images with the new images. So this will give you a problem, like sometimes when you are actually like running the scripts, and if by mistake you use the same image name in two tests, two or more tests, it will only save the latest image, and when you are checking these reports, it will show you like wrong images. Okay, so what you can do, again you can do like the same thing. You can use this current time millis. Okay, and you can attach this current time to the image name, so that every time it will create new images with the time attached to this. Okay, so let me go into this one. Okay, in this one get screenshots method. So here what I'm saying, what I'm doing is like I'll say long time is equal to uh, system dot current time in millis. So it will get me the time in milliseconds. Okay, and I'll store this one in the time. Okay, now in this one here what I will do is I will say that plus file name plus I will say I will use like underscore here. Okay, and then plus time plus this one. Okay, so I'm just attaching with to the file name, I'm attaching underscore and then that time in milliseconds. Okay, so every time this one will be created with the timestamp in Unix format. Okay, and we are returning, finally we are returning this destination file that get absolute path, so it will return the actual path of this one. Okay, if I run this one now, okay, at the step level I am running it. If I run this one, run as Java application, sorry. Okay, I'm running this one. Okay, now if I refresh the screenshots, this refresh one, yeah. Okay, see now it has created with the timestamps. So if you run it one more time, it won't replace these existing ones because the timestamp will different. Okay, so run as Java application. Okay, so now let me refresh this one. Okay, see every time it is creating new images instead of replacing the existing images. So if you like by mistake, if you use the same file name in multiple scripts, it won't actually replace the existing images with those new images, but it will create like separate images for every report. Okay, so do you guys understand this extend reports? Just practice this one. Okay, don't remember like in any of these method names, just like go here and get those method names from here and use them in your reports. Okay, but you have to do, you have to remember one thing here, how to take like screenshots. Okay, any questions guys?
Also,
Okay, so now this reports, extend reports is completed. Let us get into the next topic, which is, okay, so extend reports, this is completed. Okay, page object model we have completed, and the Excel operations we have completed. Let's get into logs of log4j2. Okay, So let me close all these things. Yeah. Okay. So what is log4j2? Okay, so log4j2 is a framework, logging framework actually. That means you can log anything to a separate file. Okay, generally I think like you all know like why people use logs. Okay, generally developers use these logs. Okay, to store the critical information to a separate file so that if something happens in the production, they can go and verify the logs to see what is happening exactly. Okay, so I think like most of you know about this log. So basically like most of the times it developers use like but we can also like use in our Selenium scripts. Okay, mostly like I didn't use these logs, but I have seen like when I was working in other companies, in my previous companies, I have seen other projects using this log4j2 to log information in Selenium scripts only. Okay, so you have to know what this log4j2 is and how to work with this one. Okay, so that in case in future if you have to work with this logging mechanism in your projects, then it will be useful for you. Okay, okay, so what is log4j and what are its uses? Log4j is a reliable, fast and flexible logging framework written in Java, which is distributed under Apache software license. Okay, it is used by programmers to output log statements to a variety of targets. These are very useful in case of errors, as the root cause of the error can be located. Okay, okay. Okay, log4j is developed by Apache to log any errors, output, etc. While log4j is fully configurable using properties .xml. Okay, so this is all like this one. Okay, so now installing log4j. Okay, you can download this log4j jar files and configure manually, or you can do it with Maven. Okay, so if you want to like install it like all the dependencies using Maven, then you have to use two things here. One is log4j API and another one is log4j core. Okay, let's go into Google. Okay, let me close all these things. Okay, Maven log4j dependency. Okay, uh, instead of this one, we'll say Maven log4j. Two things we have to do. One is API and one is core. Okay, log4j hyphen API dependency. Okay, we have 2.19 version as the latest one. Okay, in this one I have used like 2.13, but let us take like the same thing, 2.19 version. Okay, let me copy this one dependency. I'm copying this dependency and I am going to Maven here, pom.xml. Let me close all these things. Okay, in the pom.xml, I'm putting this one. Okay, so now it is building this. Okay, once this is done, then another one is log4j core I have to add. Okay, so I'll say this one log4j core. Once I do this one, then let me go into this one again, the same version, 2.19 version I am taking. Okay, so I have save this one. So okay, now this is completed. Okay, now let's go here. Okay, fine. Okay, so now we got these two dependencies here. Okay, so now what are the different kinds of messages that we can log? Okay, so we have, these are the different kinds of things that we can log a trace. I think somewhere I have given it here. Yeah. Okay, so we can there are mainly six types of information that can be logged: trace, debug, info, var, error, and footer. Okay, these are all the different kinds of information that we can log into using this log4j. Okay, so let's see a small example here. So where we the first thing that we have to do is, after creating this one, we have to create an object, okay, for this logger one. Okay, so that one we will do it using this one. Okay, so log manager dot get logger, and then we have to give the name of the current class. Okay, here in this one it is the class name is text box. So text box dot class dot get name. Okay, whatever the current class that you are using, you have to give the name of that class. Okay, you have to give that class name, which is text box dot class dot get name. Okay, this will give you the name of your current class name. Okay, and then you can use log dot trace, log dot debug, log dot info, log dot warn, log dot error, log dot footer. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, in this one I'm creating a new package here. So the package name is log I'll just say log4j2 log4j2 practice. Okay, so under this one I'm creating a new class here, and the class name is I'll say program1. Okay, and I'm using public static void main. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is you have to create an object for this one. Okay, it's a logger object we have to create. So it's a private static logger object that I am creating, and we have to import this logger object. So where do we have to import this logger object? We have to import it from log4j. Basically log4j core and multiple things are there here in this one. So let me import this one from log4j logger. Okay, so once this is done, then again log manager java, not java.util, but yeah, so again logging that log4j, we have to import the log manager from here. Once that is done, so we have to give the class name here. So here our class name is program1, program1 dot class dot get name. Okay, this is how you have to create a logger object. Okay, once we create the logger object, then we can use log dot. Okay, we have different informations here, right? So what are the different informations that we have? We have trace, debug, info, and all those things. Okay, so let us use the trace method. Okay, trace method, and I'm simply saying we don't need to use all these things. I am a trace. Okay, and then the next one is debug. Just give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. Okay, so the next one is debug. I'll say trace message. Okay, log dot debug. Okay, and I'll say I am debug message. Okay, and the next one is info message. Okay, log dot info, log dot info. I am info message. Okay, and the next thing is I'll say warning message. So log dot warn, I am warning message. Okay, and the next one is error message. Log dot error, I am error message. Okay, and the next one is bottle message. Okay, so this is how you can log the different types of information. Let me run this one, okay, and see what happens. Okay, so it is printing these two. It is printing these two. It is not printing the other ones. Okay, that means it is logging only the error and fatal messages, but not the trace or debug or info or warning messages. It is not logging any of these. Okay, but you can see that, like, it is working. Actually, we have created a logger object. Okay, and how do you create a logger object? We have to use log manager dot get logger. Okay, and then we are using this log dot what are the logger object that we have created dot and the different kinds of messages, like, that we are logging. Okay, but what is happening here? It is logging in only the error and fatal message. So what is the reason for this one? The reason for this one is, see, the above prints only the error and fatal messages and not debug and info messages or like any other thing, trace or debug messages, info messages, warning messages. This is because it needs a configuration file called log4j2. If we don't use the configuration file, it uses a default configuration file and it prints only error and fatal messages. Okay, since we are not using any configuration file here. Okay, we just created a logger object and we are trying to log the different types of information, but it needs a configuration file, log4j2 configuration file. Okay, and if we don't use any configuration file, it will have a default configuration file, and the default configuration file logs only this error and fatal information. That is why we are seeing only this error and fatal messages. Okay, okay, so if we don't use a log4j2 configuration configuration file, it will use default configuration file and debug only it will log only the error and fatal messages, not the other types of messages. Okay, so we'll see the configuration file, but do you guys understand, like, until this point, this program? Simple, like, just create a logger object and try to log the different kinds of information. That's all. Any questions?
So I don't know like what is the purpose for this as of now. I'm not getting that.
Purpose means, like, you mean to say, like,
What is it used for? Log4j2 is used for actually.
yeah, that's what, like, I mentioned, as I mentioned earlier, like, it is mainly used by the development team to log. Do you know the log files? Like, have you ever heard about log files in?
Not really because I think I am just guessing it like whenever I see developers, no. So
Mhm.
whenever they are having any front like any error, they are getting a stop in their code. Like they are running the code and they just land the error part of that code. I think that is
No,
the
no,
log of your.
no, no. There is a debugging, like, that they do. Okay,
Okay,
but the
okay,
debugging they do. Okay,
okay,
but
okay,
but mm, now generally, like, any program you take, they have the log files. Okay, so they log the information in production generally to a separate log files, like, they have some notepad files that will be created. Okay, and also, since, like, if you see any I mean production project, a lot of users use that project, right? So
yes,
it will log all the information to that file. So generally those files will be very huge, actually.
okay,
Okay, they log critical information to those files so that if some issue happens, they will go into the log files and verify those log files to see what that issue is. Of course they can do, like, debugging, but
mm,
before debugging they have to know where the issue has happened, right?
okay,
So that information they can get it from the log files. So using this log4j2, they will log all that information into separate files. Okay, and now we also got, like, some tools like Splunk, okay, which is
okay,
used on top of these log files to find out the information from the log files easily, where exactly that that issue is happening. Okay,
Okay.
and when they log the information into these log files, they use these different kinds of statements like, okay, this is a trace and this is a debug, this is just an info, or like, this is an error message. If something happens like that, that would be a critical error message, that would be a fatal message, something like that.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so all this information, it will be logged into log files basically. Okay,
Okay.
those log files are mainly used for debugging purpose only. I mean, to find out where exactly something is going wrong. Okay, but earlier it was like, they have to manually go into log files and okay, go through each and every line, or they have to search that file with these messages like, error, fatal, like that, to find out like, but since they are huge files, normally like opening the files itself takes some time for them. But now, like, we have got some new tools like Splunk is one of the tools which is used to verify the log files for some information. It became easy now basically,
Okay.
but
Okay.
logs are used by every developer. Okay, and we use some of the automation Selenium scripts also, they use this log4j2 to log some information. Okay.
Okay, sir. Got it. Got it now. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But now, do you understand, like, in this program, this basic program, how do we log something into a log file? I mean, it's not log file actually. Basically, this one will log the information into the console at this moment, but we'll see how to log it to a file. But do you understand this basic thing, like what
Yes.
is log4j framework, and also what are the configurations needed in the pom.xml? I mean, dependencies needed, and how to create like a logger object. So here we are creating a logger object, log, and then using this log manager dot get logger, and then you have to give the name of this class dot get name. Okay, this is how you will create a logger object. Once you create the
Okay.
logger object, then you can use all these different methods. But even though in the beginning, if you use all these different methods, it will only print these two, error and fatal, because we don't have a configuration file. If we don't have a configuration file, it will use the default configuration file, and it prints only error and fatal messages. Okay,
What is that configuration file is about? Like, what does that mean?
we'll see this one. We'll see that.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll see that one. Okay, okay. So since at this moment we are not using any configuration file, it will log only this error and fatal messages. Okay, so this is the basic program, and we have seen this one. Just go through this documentation. Okay. Okay, and the next one is log4j2 configuration file. Okay, now we are coming into this configuration file. Okay, so what is this configuration? This configuration file is basically an XML file, and you can go to this link. This is the documentation link, but I placed the same configuration file here also. Okay, so basically this configuration, you can see like it is starting with configuration. Basically, this configuration file contains like two sections. One is appenders section, and another one is loggers section. Okay, appender section and logger section. Okay, in the logger section, we will tell the logger log4j2 to log what kind of information it has to log. Here I am saying that it is level is equal to fatal. That means it will log only the fatal messages. Okay, and uh, yeah, where it has to log. Okay, so yeah, we have something called appender section. It tells us where it has to log. I'm saying that, okay, log it to the console. If you see this one, see here we have console section, right? So we are saying that log it to the console, and we are giving a name to this appender section, which is console1, and we are saying the pattern layout means how it has to log. Okay, I'm saying that %d and log the time, okay, in milliseconds, and %d, %5 level. So these are the different things like that we can have in this one. We'll see this one. Okay, but at this moment, remember that uh, the configuration file mainly contains two sections. One is logger section and another one is appender section. Logger section tells you what level of information has to be logged. So here I am saying just log only the fatal messages. So if you see here, so we have all these things, right? So it is just saying that just log only the fatal messages. It won't log everything else. Okay, we'll see an example. Okay, where it has to log, it tells you by the appender section. In the appender section, I am saying that log it to the console, and I am giving a name to this console one. So in the logger section, I am saying that okay, log it to the uh, fatal level messages. Where it has to log refers to this appender reference console one. Okay, so it will go and check this console one, and it comes to know that okay, I have to log these messages for this one in the console, and the layout that I have to log is this one. Okay, do you understand this configuration file? Configuration file basically contains two sections. One is logger section and another one is appender section. This logger section will tell you what level of information it has to log. So it is fatal information that has to log. Where it has to log, it tells you in appender section tells you where it has to log. It tells you that like in a console. Okay, that means log the information to the console, and I have given a name here console1, and I will refer that one in this one. Okay, in this one I'm saying that like appendix reference is equal to console. So where it has to log, it comes and sees that okay, I have to log like fatal information, but where I have to log this information. Okay, so the appender reference section is reference is equal to console1. So it comes to this appender section. Okay, the reference is console1 is here, so I have to log it to the console. How I have to log the pattern? Okay, this is the pattern I have to log. Okay, do you understand this
Yes.
one, this configuration file?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, Subbu.
now let me create like in this one is okay. Now in this one I'm creating a new folder called resources. Okay, under this one I'm creating something called log4j2 .xml. Okay, so log4j2.xml. Okay, I'm creating a new file. You have to create like the configuration file with this name only. Okay, so once I create this one, okay, then why it is okay. Let me copy this one, copy this configuration file, and paste it. Just give me 1 second. Let me get some water. Okay, just give me 1 second. Yeah. Okay. So we saved this one, this configuration file in log4j2.xml, and we have created a separate folder basically here, and we have saved this one. Am I audible, guys? Just want to make sure.
Yes, Subbu, you are audible.
Okay. Okay. So now I have created like this configuration file. Okay. Now let us see. Let's run this program and see what happens here. Okay. In this one. Okay. Run as Java application. Okay. Before this one, let me go here. Okay, so instead of like fatal messages, I will change this one to trace message, because I want to uh, do everything. I mean, I want to print like all the different kinds of messages, right? So instead of like fatal, I will say trace. So now I am expecting this to print like from trace, info, debug one, all those messages. I am expecting this one to print. Okay, now let me run this one. Run as Java application. So what is happening here? It is still printing only these two, error and fatal. It is not printing this trace, debug, info or warning. The reason is when we create like this log4j2 XML, okay, when we are running this program, it doesn't know where our configuration file is. It doesn't know. Okay, so we have to tell this program where this configuration file is. So for this one, we have to add this resource file to the build path. Okay, so we'll configure build path. Okay, and then under libraries, we'll not libraries, but let me just check this one. Okay, so here, like what to log logger section and where to log appender section. The above action, first it checks what has to be logged. So in the logger section, we have specified the root level as fatal. So it logs the fatal information only. Okay, fatal information only, and then it checks where it has to like log. Then it will verify appenders reference tag where the reference is console1. Now it goes to appenders tag and looks for the name console1. Okay, when it finds the name, it checks the starting tag, which is console. Okay, so the starting tag is console, so it will log it into the console. Pattern is defined where the way to log tag, in this case it is console. Okay, yeah, it can be rolling file also. Okay, so if it is if we want to print it to the console, like we are using it console here. Okay, but if you want to like log it to your file, we have to use rolling file. We'll see that example also, but initially like we are logging it only to the console. Okay, okay, now you need to add the folder containing the log4j2 to XML to build path slash source folder. Okay, so to the source folder you have to add it. Okay, so just right click on the project. Okay, so in this one, right click on the project and go to the configure build path, and then configure build path, and then go to the source folder. Under the source folder, just add folder and add this resources folders. Okay, so this is the folder like that we have created, right? This resources folder to the source folder. Now the resources folder is added. Apply and close. Okay, now it knows that, okay, where since this resources folder is added to the build path, now this program knows the about the log4j2 XML. And now if we run this application, okay, see, it is printing all the message, trace, debug, everything. Okay, now if you see this log4j2 XML, okay, this is what it is. So we have this trace starting from the trace message. It is printing all these messages. For example, if you use this one, instead of trace message, I will use info. So it will print only info, warn, error and fatal. So from top to down order it will come. Okay, let me use info message here. So you won't see like trace or debug now. Okay, I'm using info in the configuration file. Now I am running this one, run as Java application. Okay, you can see that it is printing info 1 error and fatal, info 1 error and fatal, because we are saying that starting from info. So this is the order. Okay, trace, debug, info 1 error and fatal. So starting, we are saying that starting from info, print it, log it. Okay, so it is logging info 1 error and fatal. Similarly, if I use like only warn here, okay, and if I run this one, run a Java application, now it won't print info also, it will print only one error and fatal. Okay, now if you see like this is the pattern like that we are using, right? So you can see that like it is printing in this pattern. So it is printing the time here, so 7:40:28:092. So it is printing the time. Okay, and then like we are printing percentage uh, t, and then like the level it is printing, which is one error and fatal. Okay, and then the logger it is printing, and the message, okay, the actual message like that we are entering in that one, it is printing it here, percentage message. Okay, just go through the document like to find out like more about this pattern layout and all these things. We can use like different patterns here. But okay, so if you want to really log something, you can directly use this pattern, okay, which will mainly print the timings, okay, and also the log message and the kind of the level of the message, whether it is a warning, error, or fatal. Okay, so do you understand this program, how we can use the configuration file? So I have shown you the basic configuration file which logs the information into the console. Okay, do you understand this one so far?
Yes, Subbu.
Okay, now so we have seen the configuration file, the basic one. Let me see. So this one we have seen, and we have discussed about like this appenders logger section and appenders section we have discussed, and then okay, yeah. So now let us see this one. One level logging one level for one program, another level from for another program, and another level for all other programs to console. Okay, so in this one, like what I would like to do is like I would like to okay, for one program, I would like to use uh, uh, what is it like one level of logging. Okay, for another program, I would like to use a different level of logging. Okay, so what let me show you this example. Okay, in this one, like I will show you these examples. Tomorrow I will show you with our car rental program. Okay, okay, so in this one, like log4j2 practice. So let me make this one as let me refactor this one. Okay, refactor and rename. I will say like this is package 1. Okay, this is package. Let me refactor this one. Okay, pick 1. Okay, let me copy the same package and I'm saying like pk2. See, I have created like two packages here. Let me copy the same thing and I'm saying like this is pk3. Okay, so I have created like three different packages here. Okay, each of them contain like multiple programs here, and what I would like to do is like of course I'm using like currently the same program in all of these. I just want to show you like how to use different levels of logging for different programs. Okay, for example, for the programs under this pk1 package, I want to log it like somewhere from trace message or somewhere from debug message, and for the programs under pk2 package, I want to log it from info message or warn message, and for program 3, okay, I want to use like everything. How do I do that? Okay, so for that one, what we have to do is, okay, now you understand like this one, right? Now you tell me like how we can do this one. Now you understand like this log4j2 xml. Okay, so how can we do that one? Any idea?
Uh, like what you have explained now, no, appenders and this
Yeah,
loggers.
yeah,
So first we have to set the level of uh, logging we want to do, root level, that is
yeah.
anything
So
warn.
basically, we have to create different logger sections, okay, for
Okay.
different packages. Okay, that's it, right?
Yeah.
See, basically, logger section in this tag, like we are saying that, okay, use level is equal to warning. That means like it logs all the messages from this warning level. Okay, so if you want to use like multiple logging levels for multiple packages based on the package a different level, you have to create like a different logger section. So how do we do that one? Okay, so if you go here, see, I have created like two logger section here. Okay, and I have one root section. We have seen this root section here. Okay, basically if you
Yes.
want to use root section means this is the default one for everything. This is the default one, level is equal to warning. But if you want to use like a separate logger section for a separate package, then we have to use a logger section and use a name. Use a name to this one. Name is nothing but your package name. Okay, you have to give the package name here. Okay, so let me let me do one thing. Let me this log4j2.xml. Let me copy this one. Log4j2 underscore 2. I'm saying okay. So this let me update this log4j2 underscore 2. Okay, so I'll just let me copy this entire thing. Okay, so in this one, what we are doing is, see, we have under this logger section, we have created multiple. The root is the default one. That means it will execute like for everything starting from trace. Okay, and the appenders reference section is like console one. So in the console one, we are saying that log it to the console in this pattern. So but for a particular package, if you want to like log it from a different level, then we have to use this logger tag, and in the name we have to give the package name here, and level, give the level as info, error, or like what are the levels that you want to do. Okay, now let me give this package name here. So how do we get the package name? For this package 1.log4j2 practice, okay, let me go to the right click and go to properties. Okay, and you will see that like this is my package name. Okay, let me copy that that one, and let me go here. Okay, so this is my package name for first package, and this is my second package. So I'll say pk2. Okay, so I'm saying that for the first package, okay, log it from info level. So what are the different levels that we have? So these are all the different levels. So whenever I execute the programs in the first package, log it at the info level. So info level means info 1, error, and footer. Okay, and now for package 2, log it from the error level. Okay, I'm saying that okay, only log error and fatal messages. Okay, and for everything else, log it from the trace level, trace debug info 1 and footer. And for all these things, we are using only this appender section, which will log it to the console. Okay, once we come to know like this rolling file which is logging to a file, then we can use okay, for this package log it to a console, and for this package log it to a rolling file. That also we can do, but at this moment we are saying that okay, at the different levels for different packages, how to log, that we are seeing. So we are logging everything to the console. Okay, so now again the name is given as log4j2 underscore 2, so it won't capture, it should be log4j2. So let me rename this previous one to log4j2 underscore 1. Okay, and then now I will rename this one to rename, okay, log4j2. So I made this one as the log4j2 one now. Okay, now let me run this one. So if I run this package pk1 log4j2 practice, pk1 log4j2 practice, it has to report it from info section onwards. Okay, so let me open this one and let me run this one, run as Java application. Okay, see, it is reporting it from the info level. Okay, so this is what we have seen, right? So for the ones under this package, report it at info level. Okay, and the next one is this one pk2. So for pk2, it has to report, it has to log from error level. So if I run this one, run as Java application. Okay, so now it is logging from the error level. Okay, now For everything else, it has to log from the trace. That means if I run this pk3, okay, run as Java application, it will log from trace level. Trace level. Okay. So do you understand this one? Or any questions?
Yeah, understood, sir.
Okay, basically we are using like different logger sections here, and then we are giving the names of the packages that we want to use for this level. Okay, and there is like one thing called like editivity here. Editivity tag is there. So the editivity tag is like okay, the reason like why we use editivity is equal to false is I have explained it like somewhere. Editivity. Okay, editivity attribute, it prevents uh, the messages logging two times. Okay, if we don't use this editivity as false, it will log it like two times. Let me show you this one. So let me say if I don't use this one, okay, let's see what happens. I'm not using this editivity tag. Okay, so let me run this pk1 log4j2. Let me run this program, run as Java application. Okay, see, even though we are saying that like for this program it has to log only from the info message, you can see that that info message is like printing two times here. Okay, so we have to use editivity is equal to false, so that it will log like only one time, not like two times. Okay, that's why editivity like should always be false in this one. Okay, if I run this one again, I think like there is a reason for that one, like why it is printing like two times. To avoid that one, they are using like this editivity is false, but you can check it like in Google, like why it prints like two times. You can go into that particular log4j2 documentation and check that one. Okay, but just use like editivity is equal to false. Okay, appender reference tag, it contributes, it contains. Okay, so this is like all we have discussed this whole thing. Okay, and the next one is, let me see. Okay, so we have seen this one, logging for one level for one program, another level for another program, and another level for other programs to the console. So we have seen this one. Okay, setting logging levels at the package level. So we have seen this one also, like logging levels at the package level. Okay, so yeah, now this is done. Okay, so the next one is, okay, logging into a file. So so far we have seen like how to log it to a console. Okay, but if we want to log it to a file, how do we do this one? Okay, so basic XML configuration file to log it into a file, to log into a file. If we want to log into a file, only the appender section will change. In the appender section, we need to add rolling file tag. Okay, so earlier we have used console tag, right, to log it to the console, but now we have to add this rolling file name. This will use logger section under the root section. Let me show you this one. Yeah. Okay, so this is the basic one. Let me change the layout here, layout orientation landscape. Okay, so if you see, the logger section is common here. We are saying that, okay, the level is trace and the appender reference is logger file. Okay, so it will go into the appender section and it will go to the logger file. Okay, now it sees that, okay, it is a rolling file, it is not console. Okay, earlier we used console here, but since we want to log it to a file, we have to use this rolling file tag. Okay, and then we are saying like the file name. What is the file name? The file name is $base path / output dot log. Okay, so what is this base path? Basically we can add like something called like properties section in this reference file. So in the properties section we have a property called name is equal to base path, and it is dot slash logs. That means we are saying that log it to the logs slash output dot log. So it will create a new folder called logs. Okay, under this folder it will create something called output dot log. Okay, and again the file pattern is again the dollar base path slash output hyphen use the timestamp. Okay, so we are using like two things here, one is file name and one is file pattern. Okay, what is this file name? Basically it will initially when it creates, like it will create it with output.log, and we will give a size to this one. Okay, once this is filled up, okay, it will create a new file with this one, with the output hyphen this date. Okay, and again the pattern we have already seen how to log it to the file. Okay, size based triggering policy, so we are saying that this is 500 kilobytes, so each time the file will be created with 500 kilobytes of size. Okay, once of course like 500, like just to show you this as an example, like I'm giving 500, but generally like it will be much more, actually this property will be much more. Okay, and once this 500 kilobytes is filled up in this output.log file, then it will create another file with output hyphen this date format, because it should not create again output.log, because if it creates again output.log, the original file will be replaced by this new empty file. Okay, so so from the next file onwards we are creating it with this format, output hyphen this format, year, month, date, hours, minutes, seconds and milliseconds. Okay, this is how we are doing it. Do you understand this one? How to use a rolling file, how to log something into the file? What we are doing is basically the logger section is same. In the logger section we'll say the level, okay, from which level you want to log, and we'll say the appender reference section is logger file. So it will go to the appender section. In the appender section, this is the logger file section. In this one, we are saying we are using rolling file, not console. If you use console, it will log to the console, but we are using logging file, rolling file. That means we are telling that log it to a file. Okay, so we have to give the file properties. Okay, so those are file name. What is the file name that here it has to create? It has to create dollar base path slash output dot log. That means it has to create with this name output.log, but where it has to create, it has to create, we are giving with dollar base path, and this dollar base path is mentioned in the properties tag. In this properties tag we have dollar base path, and which is dot slash logs. That means we are saying that first create a logs folder, under that create an output.log. Okay, so we are saying, okay, this is the initial file that will be created with just output.log. Okay, so we are giving a size based trigger policy, size equal to 500. That means 500 kilobytes. With 500 kilobytes it can handle. Once this 500 kilobytes data is filled in this one, the next file will be created with this one, file pattern dollar base path slash output hyphen this one. We are using the this time here, so that it will be created with output hyphen with this time dot log. Okay, we don't create it like just like output dot log, because the existing file will be replaced. So from the second time onwards we are creating a new file with this one. Okay, again the pattern like we have already seen. So you understand this one? Are any questions on this one, on this configuration file?
No, so it is clear.
Okay, so now let us copy this one. Okay, so in this one I will make this one as refactor rename underscore 2. Okay, let me copy this one, control C, control V. I'll make the new one is log4j2. Okay, this one let me copy this one. Okay, so let's run this one. let me run this one. So now what it has to do, it has to create a new folder called slash logs, and then under this one initially it has to create output.log. okay, so let me run this first program. Okay, run as Java application. Okay, so it is completed actually. So let me refresh this one. Okay, see the logs folder is created here. Okay, and then when I expand this one, see it has created output.log. So initially it has done this output.log. Okay, so if I open this one, okay, see it has logged everything into this log one. So starting from trace, okay, because that's what like we are saying, like starting from trace, okay, log this one. So that's why it's logging everything. Okay, let me run this same program like one more time. Run as Java application. Okay, so let me refresh this logs file. Okay, so now that 500 kilobytes of space is filled out, so it created another file with this. See, this file pattern is the second file that will be created by output hyphen this date format. You understand this one? That's why to show you this one, like this I have given like 500 kilobytes here, 500, but generally like it will be like much more than this one. But then just to show you like how it works, because it has to create a new file with this format, I have given just a 500 kilobyte size. Okay, so the first file that will be created is with this one. From the second file onwards, it uses this pattern to create the new file. You got this one? You understand this one now?
Yes, Subbu.
How to log it into a rolling file, how to log it into a file basically. Okay.
Yes.
So far like we have seen how to log it to the console using the configuration. I mean, if we don't use the configuration file, it will use the default configuration file. Okay, and then we have created a configuration file under the resources folder, and this is the basic configuration file, okay, which will log the information to the console. Okay, basically it contains two sections, loggers and appenders. We have seen both of them, and then we have seen how to log different levels of information based on for different packages. We have seen that one. Okay, and then we have seen how to log it to a file. Okay, that's also we have seen. Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah, print logs to different files for let me see, this one configuration. So we have seen this logging into a file, right? Just let me make sure that I have covered like all these things in this one. Okay, so you can define the path in the parameter properties. Okay, base path dot slash logs, and then this will first create folder, a folder logs. Yeah, this will create a folder, and then the section under appenders will create a log file as output.log under base path. Once it reaches the file size mentioned in size trigger, it will create another file with the pattern mentioned in file pattern. Okay, so I have explained this one here. Okay, fine, this is done. Now let me go into the next one. Print log state. What is the time? Okay, it's already 8:05. So okay, so I'll cover this one, like how to log. I mean, into different files. So here we have seen it like into one file. We have seen it, right? Like uh, output.log or output hyphen timestamp.log. But if we log the information to different files based on the different packages, then how to do it, like we'll see this one tomorrow. and then we will see the interview questions. Once this is completed, then I'll start with test ng. Once test ng is completed, like then we'll see Maven. Okay, fine. Yeah. Any questions so far? Just like practice this one. Okay, I'll upload these documents to the Google Drive. Okay, and also the video recordings to the Google Drive. Then just practice this one. If you practice this, then only you can understand. Okay.
We're gonna use on car rental also. We will.
Yes, yes, yes. You can.
Okay.
I'll show you an example today. Just very simple. Like see, we already have a logger file here. Just go to like
Mm,
any of the programs that we have created and create a
mhm,
logger object initially. Okay, at the
mhm.
class level, and use that logger object log dot something.
Oh, okay, okay, got that.
Okay, just you can use it like basically anywhere. I'll show you an example tomorrow, like how to use this one in our car rental. I'll take one of the examples like this one. What is that? Our pages verification. That's the script like we are using, right? So
Yeah.
I will take that one and then I'll show you the car rental project.
Okay, so
Okay. Any other questions from anyone? Yeah. Okay. Fine then. Okay. Then we'll meet tomorrow. Okay.
okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.